All right, what up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we have Tina Larsson, who is the powerhouse behind the Folson Group. Tina, how you doing?
I am great. Thank you so much, Timmy, for having me.
Of course, thanks for coming on. And we'd like to jump right in. So if you could start with telling us a little bit more about yourself and what you like to do for fun, that'd be great.
Okay. So I'm from Sweden, hence the accent, but I moved to New York in 1994. So I'm a true New Yorker. I've been here for a long time. And what do I what do I like to do for fun?
Yes.
It's funny that you should ask, because last week, was it 2 weeks ago? No, last week, I jumped out of an airplane.
Wow.
Never done it before, and it was amazing.
That is amazing. Has that been something that's like been on your bucket list, or did you just up and decide to do it one day?
It wasn't really on the bucket list, but all of these coaches like yourself say, oh, you have to have a bucket list, and then you have to go through all of these to conquer your fears. And I never had a desire to jump out of a plane.
Yep.
But my husband goes every year. He's gone 5 times, and every year he goes with a bunch of guys or a group. So this year I'm like, yeah, I got to put something on my bucket list. So I said to myself, I'm going to ask if I can come along. So I didn't really think about it that much, and it was never on my bucket list, but I went like, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I did it, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. And it was just, it was amazing. There's no other word for it.
There we go. I love it.
Yeah.
Outside of jumping out of airplanes, what else do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? I am an avid city biker. I don't know if it's really for fun. I do it for fun. It makes me feel like a teenager. And as you can tell, I'm not a teenager. I bike everywhere I go. I bike to meetings, to coffee meetings, to one-on-ones, to networking events, and to social events, to clients building, from clients building. I bike from Brooklyn to Manhattan, and I bike everywhere and anywhere. And I do a lot of networking. So it's a lot of biking, and I love it. And when I do it, I sing on top of my lungs because
Okay.
Which is kind of fun.
There we go. So anytime you're biking, you're also singing?
Absolutely. My speaking coach, I have a plan to be on do a TED Talk next year. And so I have a speaking coach. And my speaking coach, she said I'd do something crazy. So she said, like, sing.
Yeah.
So I sing. So I bike down Park Avenue in heels and a dress on my way to, like, business clothes, on my way to a networking event because I'm meeting executives. So I have to look nice. And I sing, and then all the construction workers, how they have their windows rolled down because they're probably smoking, maybe.
Yep.
And they hang out, they videotape me, they take photos, they sing along. Last week, there was a guy who said to me, so I started, na 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 na, and then I heard, and I was like the only one in the bike lane. And then I heard this guy, he went like, na 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 na.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love
it. What I do for fun.
Biking in dress clothes and singing.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit more about the Folson Group. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, are you in New York City, or where are you?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Ooh, Austin. Okay. But you have Austin, they have apartment buildings there too.
Yes.
So I'm in New York City, and I started a firm called the Folson Group, which consults co-op and condo boards on reducing their expenses. And the way that came about is kind of a funny story, because we bought an apartment, my husband and I, in 2004. And I worked on Wall Street. He worked on Wall Street. And I've been a business analyst on Wall Street for the purpose of investing my clients' money for the last 25 years or something. And so I knew how to analyze businesses. So in 2011, I think it was, on Christmas Eve, our board sent us a letter that they were increasing the maintenance again for the 10th year in a row. Merry Christmas to us, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I had never paid attention, or we had never paid attention to it. And all of a sudden I went like, well, wait a minute, isn't it only supposed to 5% per year and there's no inflation? And they're telling us that it's only supposed to cover their expenses. So if expenses are increasing at the rate of inflation, which was 0 at the time or close to, why are they increasing the maintenance by 5% per year?
To line their pockets.
Probably. You got it. You got it. So it didn't make sense to, and over 10 years, that's a huge increase.
Yeah.
So what we did was that we spoke with some neighbors and we asked them what they thought about that. And they agreed with us. So we had a coup. We took over. Yeah. We took over the board. We got a group together and we got majority and we had a big riots and stuff. And we took over the board. As soon as we took over the board, we thought, I was actually never on the board. My husband is the board president, but he's more diplomatic, shall we say. I have not so much patience for,
Sure.
Yes, for politics and stuff.
Yeah.
And to be nice to people that I don't like. I'm nice to everybody who's nice, but when they're pain in the neck, then yeah, that's for someone else. So, but he asked me to help. So I did what I knew from Wall Street, which was to benchmark, to find out. So a building has all of these different expenses. And I didn't know at the time if 10,000 for exterminating services were high, low, or just normal. So I went out and I got the financial statements from all these other apartment buildings, pretended to be a buyer, and put together a benchmark. And now I knew if 10,000 was high, low, or normal. And then we went through and we made some phone calls, eliminated some services that were paid for. Same service paid to 2 different vendors. But yeah, why would you pay for the same service twice? Yep. Anyways, so we were able to save our own building $340,000 in the first 3 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And that's on an annual budget of 3 million. So it's a big number.
It is.
And as a result, when I was out networking, you know how many people want to meet another financial advisor?
Yep. Yeah.
So I started introducing myself as Tina Larsson. I helped my co-op save $340,000. And a lot of people said to me, can I introduce you to my co-op board? And that's how we started our business.
Okay, so let me understand this a little bit more. The co-op, are those the people who own the kind of whole apartment complex?
Yes, or individual owners. So
I got you.
If they're apartments, they can either be owned by one owner who rents them all out, and that's a multifamily owner, and they're rental apartments. Or if you buy your apartment, then it's a co-op or a condo. And in your neck of the woods, it's probably a condo, or they might even call them an HOA.
Yes, yeah, okay, I see. So the board was legitimately just trying to be efficient with their spending. It wasn't like an owner where if they decreased their expenses or charged you guys more, they would make more to their bottom line.
No.
I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
And in an apartment building, a lot of people say, well, each apartment owner pays for their own expenses, and they do inside of their apartment, but the expenses that are paid for by the organization, by the HOA or co-op, are the heating, water, insurance for the building, elevator maintenance, roof repairs, facade repairs, anything that is not inside of the apartment are paid for by the association. And then those expenses are passed on, and that's like basically the monthly rent for the owners. And then the owners pay for their own homeowners insurance and their own electricity, etc.
I see. Okay, so really nobody was getting wealthier by charging you 5% extra per year. It was just like you guys were just wasting money, essentially.
It was just wasting money.
I see. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you came up with the solution you did.
Thank you. And I mean, we would work with buildings in Austin too, but there are so many buildings, there's so many co-ops and condos in New York, and we're the only ones who do what we do. So we market to New York only, because
you don't need to go outside.
No, at some point we will, but no. Yeah.
I got you. Awesome. Well, let's jump a little bit more into your motivation. What really gets you up and keeps you going every day?
Excitement. I am passionate. I'm a passionate person. I'm an A-type person. I have no problem. People say, "Oh, do you hit the snooze button?" There's no snooze. I don't know the last. I wouldn't even know where the snooze button is.
Yeah.
But I mean, I am passionate about helping every co-op and condo owner live in New York City, live in a building that's safer, greener, more sustainable, and more affordable.
I love it. Run us through those. Safer, greener, more affordable,
and more sustainable.
Gotcha.
And think about it. I don't know if you heard about the condo collapse in Surfside, Florida last year in 2021. That building collapsed because the board was not actively doing what they needed to do. And it was a tragedy. 98 people died, many of them in their sleep. And it was in part due because they did not do the maintenance and the repairs that they needed to do. So we try to help co-op and condo boards act more proactively to keep their buildings safer.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, let's go ahead and jump into your dreams and goals now. We know that you want to do a TED Talk in 2023.
Yes.
What are some other dreams or goals that you have?
Well, one of the goals is to help every New York City co-op or condo be green, and to have an impact on New York City, on the city itself, to make it more sustainable. Other goals is that my TED Talk next year. I wrote a book. It's coming out in the fall.
Okay.
Yes, and it's currently with the editor. And you're never going to guess what it's about.
Is it about making condos safer, greener, more sustainable, and more affordable?
You got it, Timmy.
There we go. Consistent with the brand.
And that's it. I mean, the 5-year goal is to be nationwide.
There we go.
Yeah. 10-year goal. I doubt that it's going to happen, but I guess I have to retire at some point.
I got you.
I see myself as Warren Buffett. I'm probably going to work until, but probably more from a remote beach in Caribbean.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. To kind of have the systems in place in 10 years so you can be remote. You still do the work that you love, but you have an option.
Yes, exactly.
There we go. Well, if there were one or two people that you could meet right now, and this could be a specific person or a type of person, and they'd help you take the next step towards these dreams and goals, who would they be and how would they help you?
Mhm. Well, Oprah would be good. Since I
Yep,
wrote the book.
yep, yep.
I can think of nobody better to promote my book than on Oprah.
That that is facts. That is facts. Oprah is a common one, believe it or not.
GaryVee.
Mm, Gary Vee.
Mm,
Why Gary Vee?
Gary. Oh, well, he's the marketing guru. Is he
Absolutely.
not?
He is. He really is.
He's very inspirational.
You know what Gary Vee would tell you? He would
Tell
just be
me.
telling you to post 20 TikToks a
I know.
day. Content,
I
content, content.
I know. And I post on LinkedIn every day,
There we go. There we go.
but I don't post on TikTok. My husband doesn't want me to be on TikTok.
Really? Why is that?
Between you and me.
Between you and me and everybody listening to this podcast.
Um, Safety issues. I mean,
I got you.
they're it. Who owns it? It's not a good thing.
I see. I see.
Yeah. So I don't. Well, I also don't have an Alexa or Siri.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Got to make sure they're not listening to us.
But I do.
Here's the
But I
thing.
do.
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry.
I was gonna say,
Here-
here's the thing. They really do listen to us. Like, I'll talk about something, and then not even an hour later, an ad will pop up on my Instagram exactly about that thing, or a post will pop up with that specific movie scene. And I'm like, this can only happen because my phone is listening to me. Like, straight
Yeah.
up.
Yep. It's pretty scary.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I'm not on TikTok, but I'm very active on LinkedIn. And I used when I took a LinkedIn, or I have a LinkedIn trainer. I joined him in June of 2020 when we were told stay at home and do nothing.
Yep.
So I joined his course, and I'm still in that course. He's fantastic. His name is Joe Apfelbaum. And he took our business from having 0 prospects and clients from social media to now 80% of our business comes from LinkedIn.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's
All with I know. So that's a 5-fold in our business, new clients. And it's quite amazing. And the other day when I posted, here's just a proof of the importance or the benefits of posting on LinkedIn, because I know a lot of people, they say to me, oh, I like Facebook. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Last week, when I posted my skydiving video on Facebook, I have 200 views. On LinkedIn, it went viral. I have now 40, the last time I checked today, I had like 45,000 views. So what would I rather have? 200 or 40,000? I mean, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Oprah, Gary Vee, and is there anybody else you want to mention?
Yeah, I guess Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett.
Yes. He would be good to meet.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are the most important 1 or 2 things that everyday people can do to really help you accomplish your dreams and goals? So we're talking about Sally at the grocery store wants to help you grow your business or reach your dreams and goals. How would she do it?
So Sally can help me by listening for anyone who lives in a co-op, condo, or HOA, but the apartment building, not the communities, but the legality of it doesn't matter. And listen to if they complain about anything. So if you're an owner in a co-op or condo or HOA, then very often you complain, oh, they have such strict house rules. I want to have a dog, but they don't allow me to have a dog, or they only allow me to have certain breeds of dogs, or only small dogs. I want a big dog. So dogs is a big issue that people complain about all the time, or they complain about that their monthly fees went up again, or they'll complain. They always have complaints about their board, or when they're buying that they have such strict rules. So we have an interview. So anytime anybody complains about their co-op or condo or HOA, I want to speak for them. And you know how people never want to listen to complaints. When it comes to people who live in an HOA, I want to hear all their complaints.
I got you. You should host a podcast.
I want to be on 100 podcasts first.
Okay, so be on 100 before you host one.
Yes, that's the plan.
We're gonna add that to the dreams and goals section. You know how many podcasts you've been on so far?
This year about 30.
There we go.
But I was only on one in 2021, so it's a big increase.
That is a huge increase.
Yes, but I made an effort in the beginning of this year. I said I want to be on 20. I think I said 24 podcasts because 2 a month was my goal, but I surpassed that.
Yeah, and there's still 5 months left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one of the things is that I post on LinkedIn saying that I'm looking for podcast speaking opportunities, and very often people like yourself reach out, and that's how I get some of my podcast appearances.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Good old LinkedIn doing what it's supposed to do.
I know.
Well, awesome. Now we're going to jump into our Thriving 3. And our first question is, what is your favorite book, movie, or podcast? Pick one.
I'm going to say a book because I actually took my book out. That is Getting Things Done by David Allen.
Oh, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity.
Yes. It's a great book. Before I read this, I was all over the place, multitasking, less focused. My word of this year is focus. And I have really focused on doing one thing every single month. So my podcast month was March, and that's when I booked tons of podcasts. But then, as you know, some of them happened in April, some in May. And then April and May, I had 2 months because I thought that I was going to be able to finish a book in 1 month, but that didn't happen. So it took 2 months. So I've been trying to do one thing, one focus each month, and it's all thanks to this book. And it's made a huge difference in my life and even my personal life and our business.
So is that kind of the focus of the book? It says, pick one thing a month, do that one thing. That is it.
It's giving you tools how to organize your life. So it's not really exactly saying that. That was my interpretation of it. It's basically saying that to have organized, however you organize it, if you organize it in a spreadsheet or in Asana or on traditional notepads, just to have projects that you want to have done, but they don't necessarily have to be done now. So it's basically like the Eisenhower box. What needs to be done now, urgent and important, not urgent but not important, etc. So it's 4 boxes basically. And then he says the last box, if it's not urgent and not important, cross it out and don't put it on a list.
Facts.
And then I put 3 items on my daily list. So the night before, I make a list of the 3 most important items for the next day that I need to accomplish that will have the largest impact on our business.
I love that. Okay, so talk to us about the largest impact on your business, because I think a problem for a lot of entrepreneurs is knowing those KPIs, knowing those revenue generating activities. So how do you isolate what the most important thing is for your business at this point in time?
So I never knew how to, people say, oh, you have to have KPIs, but I didn't know where to start. So I actually took in my goal setting course in December, I put together my KPIs finally. because nobody provided me with a template. So now I have a template. So I have all the inputs and then all the outputs, all the results. So the inputs are those things that I do to make the results happen.
Yep.
So the inputs for me, the inputs are how many LinkedIn followers do I have? How many one-on-ones do I do? How many networking, how many people do I meet with networking? How many posts do I do on LinkedIn? But nowadays that's 20 a month or so. How many referrals do I give?
Okay.
How many times do I invite people to events so that they remember me? So those are kind of the inputs, and then the outputs are how many referrals do I get? How many board meetings do I have? How much revenue do I generate? And also in the output is also how many Google searches do I have a month? How many people visit our website? How many people download our free tools from our website? Yeah, so, and those are the KPIs. And what I have the same list for month by month, and I have my goal. I know how much I want to reach by December. And then I have my daily, where for the exact same items, I put them down every single day. So now I had a podcast. So today, by the end of the day, I'll plop in one podcast. And then at the end of the month, I'll just summarize for each month. And our Google search this year is up 300%.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing.
But I know, but a year ago, I wouldn't even know it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't keep track of it.
There we go.
And 2 years ago, when I started with my LinkedIn coach, he helped me set up KPIs for my LinkedIn activities. And 2 years ago, I had 20 views of a post. And now I have on average, so the month of July, I just looked at it today. I had 3,000 is my average views of all of my posts on LinkedIn.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That is, your average was 20. What is that, like 150x?
You know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. So cool. So cool.
It is. But it's also about, as you know, it's also about being generous.
Yes.
So I engage in a lot. I have a tribe on LinkedIn and I engage in their posts as often as I can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool. What is one way you like to take care of yourself?
Go for ice cream with my husband.
What's your favorite type of ice cream?
Yesterday was like the third time this year that we had ice creams. We went to the ice cream shop, so it's not like I do this every day. Butternut squash.
Ooh, butternut squash. I'm not a fan, but I respect it.
Another one of my favorites is sea salt caramel.
I like that one better.
Okay.
I like that one better.
I'm glad I could convince you.
Awesome. And what is one action step you can take right now or continue to take if you're already doing it to meet Oprah, GaryVee, or Warren Buffett?
Good question. I need to start writing good comments on GaryVee's posts, I think. I think that's gonna, yeah. And it's one of those, do you write comments on his posts?
I don't write a ton of comments on his posts now. I think I've written a couple. I did that a little bit with him and with Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
and
Tony
Eric
Robbins.
Thomas, the hip hop preacher.
Oh, I don't know him. Eric Thomas?
Yeah, E.T.
I didn't know him. Okay, I'll check it out.
He's a good motivational speaker. I'm a fan.
Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah, no, I normally like his posts when they stop by the feed. I don't watch the feed very much. I don't hang out a lot in the feed, so social media feeds, but if I do see it, I like it. But I always feel like I don't know what I have to add here.
Yeah.
I want to add something, but I'm like, what can I add that would make me sound smart, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel that. Well, you know what GaryVee would say to that.
I know what he would say to that.
He would say just add. In fact, he would say comment 20 times.
Yes, he would.
Yeah, but I think that's a valid point.
And maybe now that it's recorded and people are going to see this, maybe this is my time to start doing that. And it's a new month.
Absolutely.
So, I concentrate on one thing at each month. So maybe that's what I should concentrate on this month and see if it has an impact on my output.
There we go. There we go. As I'm sure it will. As I'm sure it will. Well, awesome. Now we're going to jump into our final series of questions. And these require a bit more pretext. They're a bit more involved, and I didn't send them beforehand. So if you don't have an answer, it's totally okay to be like, I don't know. Alrighty, here we go. So a lot of people have come on the podcast and they've said that the catalyst that helps people change from having a fixed mindset, not willing to accept help and not willing to accept change, to having a growth mindset, being willing to accept help and being willing to accept change, the catalyst that helps people make that switch is a personal choice that happens after either extreme inspiration or extreme desperation. Do you agree, disagree, have anything to add or subtract?
I completely agree. Just like, I mean, in a way, it's no different than when an alcoholic finally asks for help and goes to AA, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, no, I don't know if I have anything to add. I mean,
Yeah.
If things go completely wrong, or then you need help. I mean, I have always felt that I wanted a coach, but I never found the coaches that I wanted. And then that I had a good connection with, I never found the one that I said, you know what, I want to be coached by her or him. And during the pandemic, I reached out to a few friends in March of 2020. I said to myself, what am I going to sit here and do nothing for the next, how long? They said 12 weeks, right? And I thought that was terrible to sit and do nothing for 12 weeks. So I reached out to a few friends and I said, listen, I just need a coach because I'm going to drive my husband crazy and I'm going to be crazy myself. So I need a coach. This is the perfect time to do this. And I had a group of people who use the same coach. Her name is Tara Maxwell and she's in Dallas, Texas. So I joined her group coaching program that she had just rolled out. It is life-changing. Mm. And then she said, oh, you need to be more active on LinkedIn. I said, how do I do that? She said, you hire a LinkedIn coach. And then my LinkedIn coach, he said, you need to do more video. And I said, but I'm not comfortable on camera. I said, how do I do that? And he said, hire a speech coach. Yeah. So now I have a team of coaches.
It's facts. The most successful people do.
I know. I mean, you haven't heard of the Olympic team that made it to the Olympics without the coach, have you?
Nope.
No.
You have not.
Gotta have a coach.
Awesome. Well, why do you think, given the same amount of extreme inspiration or extreme desperation, some people make the choice to change and others don't?
Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. It's a very thought-provoking question. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, is it because the despair is not big enough? I mean, I don't know. I listen to Joel Osteen. Sorry, everybody out there, but I love Joel Osteen. And he talks about that all the time.
Yeah. I'm laughing because you apologize for it. Joel Osteen's great. He
I think so. I think
changed
so
many
too.
people's lives, I'm sure.
I know. I listen, and the funny part is that my husband, he always says to me, he said, "You're the only non-religious person I know who listens to him," and I listen to him. So in New York, he's playing on TV every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. and I watch him every single Sunday.
Really? But you wouldn't call yourself a Christian.
Well, because I grew up an atheist. I mean, so
Gotcha.
that's so I I I mean, so I don't really believe in God.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Because that's how I grew up, I think.
But you like Joel Osteen.
Oh, I love him.
I love it. Go for it. That's perfect.
Yeah. So, but he talks about that a lot of times, that just you have to go get help. And
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things. And if there was a clear answer, some might think we'd be able to come to a clear solution. And I think there's not a clear answer, so it's kind of hard to solve for that. Like, we can't make people choose to change. We just can't. They
no.
have to come to that on their own.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, some people need a smaller amount of desperation or inspiration to change, and others need a larger, more consistent amount. What do you think establishes that breaking point, and can it be influenced?
That's another great question.
Thank you.
Don't you think that it's like any other, like I have a very high pain point. I broke my ribs and all of this, and then I went straight back to work because I have a high pain point. And my friend who's an acupuncturist, she said, "I cannot believe that you did that. You must have had such high pain point." Whereas other people, they prick a finger and then they can't, then they're in bed because they're so sick. I don't know, but I'm thinking that it might be something like that, that it's just the way we are.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a doctor.
For sure. The podcast
or a
is all about
scientist or is an expert in this area at all.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, we got one last question for you.
Mhm.
And so before I ask this question, I need you to think about a person who has a really fixed mindset. They're not willing to accept help and they're not willing to accept change. So in Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about the 4 laws of changing your behavior. And the laws are: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. With that context in mind, and the avatar I just told you to keep in your head, how can we, you and I, create an environment that makes it more obvious, more attractive, more easy, and more satisfying for that avatar to make the choice that will change their life?
Yeah, it's very hard to change people's minds. I mean, and I don't have an answer for that. Even I read that book and it's a fantastic book. But I don't have a good answer for it.
Sounds
I
good.
mean,
neither do I. That's why I'm asking the questions.
yeah. I mean, I have certain people that they ask me for help all the time, and then when I give them, they ask me for advice. I mean, I have no problem if they complain and they tell me all of these problems, but then they don't ask me for advice, then I'll be happy to not give them advice. But if they ask for my advice, then it's a little disappointed when they just
Yeah, when they disregard it.
yeah. But yeah, no, but I have tried not to keep those people around.
Yeah, and that's really all we can do, because we're all becoming our best version of ourselves, right? And if we kind of stick around people that are pulling us down, it's going to be really hard for us to level up. And a lot of the answers we've gotten on some of these answers is like, be an example. So go level up yourself and then inspire people to level up.
Yes, and that's a good one, and that's, of course, that should have been my answer.
Hey, it's only my answer because I've heard other people say it. It's part of my answer, at least, because I've heard other people say it. I heard one person just describe the sales process at one point, and I really liked that answer because I think my genius zone is selling people on themselves. It's what I love to do. I can do it all day, and it's just like I like being there with people when they make that choice to like bet on themselves. It's so fun.
Yeah.
So I just think that's really cool. But
Yeah.
always asking these questions, I haven't gotten an answer that's quite satisfactory. Like I used to only ask, what's the catalyst that helps people change? And I got an answer that I was like, okay, it's kind of the same thing over and over. So now I ask these questions to kind of go a bit more in depth. But anyway,
Yeah, no, it would be a good thing to know how to change their minds, because just it's a very similar, it's the same reason that we are having that when we have prospect clients who don't sign up because they don't want help.
yep,
And so it's, I mean, it's not only your business or your particular field. I mean, it's in a lot of fields that there are people, they just, it's easier not to do anything.
absolutely.
Maybe it's their
Absolutely.
comfort zone and it's a little scary, just like jumping out of a plane.
Yeah,
It's a little scary to do something that you're not usually doing.
for sure.
Mhm.
Well, awesome, Tina. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Timmy.
Of course. Is there anything else you want to chat about before we sign off?
No, you're gonna give them my contact information in the show notes, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. I'm about to go through that right now.
Perfect. Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening. If you loved what Tina had to say, you loved what she does, you happen to be in New York and you live in a condo and have a co-op that needs some help, hit Tina up. All the ways to contact her will be down in the show notes. As we always ask, go ahead and shoot this podcast over to 1 to 3 people you know need to hear this message. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes, and we're out.